We're back here hanging out with Jeff Duke, the artistic associate with Rocky Mountain Repertory Theater right there in Grand Lake, which is the western gateway to Rocky Mountain National Park. Absolutely beautiful setting, and it's a beautiful place right in the beautiful setting. Yeah, sure. And so we talked about your recruitment, and it blows my mind. I went out and saw a show, the talent that is there. These aren't just locals. These are people that this is their career and their passion. How does that happen? How do you go from being a graduate of DePaul or something back in Chicago to coming to a tiny little Grand Lake and putting on these world-class shows?
A lot of work.
Yeah.
We do what we call casting. So starting at the beginning of the year, once we've decided on the shows, in January we start making announcements that we're going to be doing auditions.
So the shows are decided right around the new year?
Yeah, like in the late fall, and we announce everything that our shows are going to start, or what the shows are in January. So then actors from all over can then suddenly know, okay, Rocky Mountain Rep is doing these shows. So then we put out our casting notices. We go to some unified casting where there's a lot of different theaters at the audition. So in Memphis, we go to Memphis.
Oh, it's like a job fair or any other fair.
Kind of, yeah. And so we're like, there's probably 90 different theaters there. So we go to Memphis. We probably see about 500 people there.
So you're all sitting in an auditorium while they read a part?
Yes.
That kind of?
Yeah, and then you call back people that you want to see. So and so that's what Memphis. So those are long days, 3 long days.
And how many auditions would you hear in one weekend?
I mean, 450 to 500 people, I believe. It's over 3 days.
And there's 90 theaters that are going to be kind of looking to fill their roles. And
right. And then in Chicago, we do an auditions the very next week in February. So this is all in the month of February. So then we go to Chicago, we do our own. So we're the only theater there. And those auditions, when we first did them in 2005, we attracted about 25 people. Now we probably had about 600 submissions, people wanting to come and work at Rocky Mountain Rep. We couldn't see them all, so we kind of screened who we thought would be the best for us to see.
So do these people know of Grand Lake? I mean, I'm still a little blown away. Like, how do you go to a city with all the exposure and culture there is in a city and say, hey, we got this tiny theater in the mountains. We'd love to have you come perform at it.
I think over the years, actors, number one, our reputation has grown. The actors like you want to work there, I think.
Just the word of mouth from prior.
And I think audience members. So I think it's a combination.
Are you getting a lot of return? I mean, or is it usually one and done?
No, a lot of them come back for 3 or 4 years. Yeah, they want to come back. We can't always give them a part.
Right, you have to have a part that fits.
That fits, or they fit in the track. Yeah. And so after Chicago, we were in St. Louis a couple weeks ago, saw another group of 500 or so people. So we've seen so far about 1,500 people, and then I'm going to do some auditions in Denver on Friday coming up, and and then we're going to make decisions.
How big's the cast that's going to live here for the entire summer?
It's about 20 in the summer repertory company, 20 actors. There's many more. There's technicians, there's musicians, but in the acting company, there's going to be about 20. And then in the summer or in the fall show, it's a smaller company, and there'll probably be there's 8 or 9 actors in that.
And you mentioned the Repertory is having multiple shows,
right?
And that you're going to kind of jumble up the same group, and they're going to have different roles or different.
Yeah. So when we're looking at it, we're going, okay, this person can do this part, and it becomes sort of like a
chess game. You got to really piece them all in.
It does, because there might be someone that feels really good for this part, but because you're in rep, it's like, it's not going to work for this show.
So what's the prep? How long does it take these actors to get to know not just one, but 3 or 4 different musicals?
Yeah.
Before you're ready for showtime.
Well, literally, we have less than 2 weeks for each show, and in fact, when we're doing the first show, the first 2 weeks they overlap. So we start rehearsing the first show. And then the next week we start rehearsing the second one. So we're rehearsing the first and the second show at the same time. Then they
already have the material from when you give them the parts?
They get the materials in May, and they'll have some time. We encourage them, get as much under your belt as you can.
So they should more or less have the script memorized and stuff, and so they can come in and really start putting the pieces together.
I mean, a good working knowledge of the script. Mm-hmm. Memorization, if you're a lead, we say try to have at least your lyrics and any lines that you have memorized, because it's quick. And so in 5 weeks, we have all 3 shows up and running for the rest of the summer.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And it's 7 days a week, or how many days?
6 days a week, yeah.
Sundays off, or what's a day off?
Yeah, Sundays are usually off, so it's Monday through Saturday. No matinees usually.
So do these guys, I mean, do they get time to enjoy the activities of the mountains?
Yes, after a while. Not in the first 5 weeks, but once we get the shows up, there's definitely time.
Once they get into the routine and the flow of it, then they can actually
and enjoy it.
Do a little more.
For sure. It's enjoyable. But I mean, like I said, in the audition process, it's extremely competitive for all of them. You know, you have like 90 seconds to show us what you can do to get called back.
So
and then
great
we can
that
work with them.
Grand Lake's come to as much of a reputation to them as they've now come to Grand Lake.
Yeah,
That's
it's
awesome.
exciting for Grand Lake.
Well, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk a little more about the shows in general and the youth theater that you guys do out there.
Great.
And we'll be back shortly. But first, this is Jeff Duke with the Artistic Associate of the Rocky Mountain Repertory Theater in Grand Lake. And once again, a big thanks to the Grand Lake Chamber of Commerce for being a sponsor for our show. RockyMountainRep.com, I think is the website.
Yes.
So check them out. We'll be back.